Lies life, and we're back.
Yeah, we're back with another one.
Yes, yes.
All right, so we did a video about Kevin Hart previously. We're gonna do another one.
How can you fix your marriage? You embarrassed, they be laughing at all them broken promises and flowers. Don't be passing back. You can get this course for no divorce, so just imagine that. 12 weeks of Maya's life will save you from the avalanche. How can you fix your marriage? You can fix your marriage. How can you fix your marriage? How can you fix your marriage? 12 weeks of Maya's life, we can fix your marriage. 12 weeks of Maya's life, how can you fix your marriage? 12 weeks of Maya's life, help you fix your marriage. 12 weeks of Maya's life, help you fix your marriage. You can fix your marriage. You can fix your marriage. 12 weeks of Maya's life, you can fix your marriage.
And this is in regards to his docuseries that's on Netflix. And we did it specifically on the situation with him cheating on his wife in Vegas.
The first one, yeah.
Yeah. So, we provided some coachable moments on how to overcome infidelity, how to think of things, and how to deal with things going forward after such a situation.
Right.
This time we're going to talk about his argument with his best friend and trainer boss.
Yes. Right. Now, this is a very dangerous situation for Kevin. Because if you look at Boss and you look at Kevin, and Boss is his trainer. So to get in a physical altercation with Boss may not be a pretty good idea. You know what I'm saying? But, as far as with ego is concerned, we feel as men, nobody can stop us, nobody can challenge us. So we may tend to bite off more than we can chew at times.
Yes. So as you can see in the clip that I'm showing here, the body language and how things can escalate very quickly. And we do a lot of anger management, right? Yeah. So things can go from 0 to 100 really quickly.
What they do is say the right or the wrong thing.
Right.
And then it'll trigger somebody and boom, they at you.
And the main thing that underlies that is if someone feels threatened, they're going to go into default mode. Right. And as you can see, there was a little alcohol involved. They were playing cards. It was that kind of ego-driven male type of thing going on. Right. Testosterone was flowing.
And Kevin's wife was there as well. So you also have a female, present in a group of men, so they were on a private plane. So they were, everybody's grouped together. They could hear the conversation.
Right.
And you're talking about people's money, what they make, livelihood, and things like that too. So,
right. So yeah, it got real quick.
Which is 0 to 100 fast.
Yeah, so we definitely recommend checking this series out. But let me read a quote towards the height of the argument. One thing that Kevin said that really triggered his friend was specifically, if everything stops today, could you survive?
Whoa. So as a man, what you gonna say? Yeah, I'm gonna survive. I've been making it before you. I'm making it after you. Of course, was Boss' direct response as well.
That was his response. So then he said, quote, the fact that you're trying to tell me that I can't survive makes you look dumb as I've been making money way before this. Right.
So Kevin stayed on that though. He harped on, dude, could you survive? Do you have a house? Do you have a house? Kept asking the same thing over and over. And of course, Boss was insinuating that, hey, I'm a businessman too. I make my own money as well. Just because I work for you doesn't mean that I couldn't survive if I didn't have your money, basically. And of course, we see this in a lot of our relationships as far as domestic violence situations where the man kind of lords over the money over the woman, or whoever makes the most money lords it over, and then they feel like they can control them or say anything to them.
So Kevin Hart, in an interview, later went on to say that he effed up, so to speak.
Yeah.
Hence the title of the docuseries, right? Yeah. So he had a moment of self-reflection and looked back on it. And I honestly think that a lot of that was projection, meaning that, there was a lot going on in his life and he was hurting and he wanted to make someone else hurt too. So he picked at his friend in that moment.
Yeah, unintentionally, alcohol was involved, And because really these two are friends. They spend a lot of time together.
He's all day. Trainer. He wakes him up in the morning.
So all of these things, and friends are like, of course, they're like family at this point. So, you have arguments, you have misunderstandings, and then you get mad at each other. Of course, you also come together and you hash it out. You talk about these things too, to really get a better understanding of each other, to set certain healthy boundaries too.
Right.
You know, because they're friends. You know, they're friends, but certain things shouldn't be said amongst friends as well.
And it's hard to work with friends. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
So, the fact that they've grown and built so much together is amazing. And, I wish them the best of luck going forward, too.
And, I want to give, just really Kevin is a lot of credit as well, because his circle of friends that he has had around him, they've all grown together and they've been there with him from day one. And so the people that he has around him are a very, very tight knit circle of friends, and he's very, very fortunate to have that. Of course, he puts in the time and effort with them too to build and strengthen those relationships as well. So I think that the way they have their business mode set up, and they've been winning. They've been winning, and I wish them all the love and blessings that they can achieve. And I know they're growing. They're going to continue to grow as well.
Mm-hmm. So Kevin Hart says in this interview, going forward, having a moment of self-evaluation, I realized a chink in the armor. I'm a firm believer in practice what you preach, and I'm always preaching to boss about what we are, what we can be, what we have, why we need to be smart, and always looking at the bigger picture.
So see at this instance, how alcohol and certain things were involved to kind of take away that motivational side and go to a place of kind of tearing you down or breaking you down, so to speak. And I'm sure that he didn't start off intentionally, that he had a point that he was trying to prove, because it wasn't a whole lot said, but it was enough said to make boss angry. So we don't really know where Kevin was trying to go in that conversation, because things got escalated very, very quickly.
Exactly.
So he didn't really get a chance to prove his point as well. So I mean, and of course, once boss had that perception of what the point that he was trying to prove, then he defended himself as well. So yeah, things escalated very, very quickly. But of course, in this friendship, the way Kevin has gone on the interviews and the way they've mended this friendship just goes to show you that when you are friends, you can work through any differences.
You can.
You just have to communicate.
It's not the end of the world. We all fall short at times.
Everybody does.
And just accepting everyone and those close to you as who they are. No one's better than anyone else. We're all on this journey trying to figure it out together. So, having that humility, that patience, and that understanding with those that are close to us, will take us a long way.
And really they make each other great.
Maybe.
Whatever position that they play in that team, they all are great in that position. So they're working as one, as a unit, to really help Kevin succeed, but as well as help themselves succeed as well. So they're all working as a well-oiled machine. So when you look at Kevin's success, group everybody in that success as well, because they've been there to help him with it. Not saying that they put him there, because they were just there to help. He did the lion's portion of pulling himself up, making himself get up and have that motivation to go and do the things that he needs to do to put himself in these situations. And they also were the catalyst to help him do it. So everybody's working together. They have their own minds, they have their own lives, they have their own hearts and abilities and talents as well. And they are also free to do those things. So that's great. That working relationship that they have is a great relationship.
It is. So we just kind of wanted to do a little video on this and just talk briefly about how things can escalate very quickly and how egos can kind of take over and create situations that, are unhealthy, and Kevin realized that and acknowledged that. And, he understands that, he put a lot on the line with his argument with his friend, his friendship, his livelihood, all these things are consequences of anger and getting physical because of anger. But ultimately, we thank you for being as transparent as you are so that we can even have this conversation and talk about this.
Right. For us to even have a coachable moment, you had to make yourself and put your life out there to be transparent. So we thank you for that, and we also know that you're going to continue to move forward and be successful in this life.
So, Mars Life.
Mars Life, we wish you all the best.
Yes, and if you need some support with anger, please reach out. We will help you understand those triggers so that you can, control that and control your anger when provoked.
Yes.
Yes,
Identify.
yes. And there's so many strategies and things you can do to help you de-escalate yourself. So
Right.
reach out. We'll help you.
All right. Remember, we love you.
Yeah.
And Mars Life.
I'm alive, 6, 7, 8, feeling great. Now I'm gonna shine, life is good. I'm doing fine, and gonna do it right and do it again, yeah. I look into the sky with all the beautiful color, but there's more than just for me, so gonna share it with another. I got to show, to give, let out. I want to sing and shout, take a look and see a beautiful morning that turns into a beautiful evening, and together make a beautiful life. And if you wanna see, then come along with me, that's right. And if you want a good tomorrow, it's pretty simple, gotta find a life to follow. And if you do, you have
The Myers helped me face the issues that were tearing my relationship apart. They provided a safe environment to work through those difficult issues associated with our children, work, finances, trust, and intimacy. I feel I achieved a closeness and a renewed commitment to my relationship. I highly encourage couples to face their challenges and give the Myers a call.
We want to thank the Myers for all of their support. We were on the brink of a divorce.
We just could not communicate. We would have the same argument over and over again.
But after a great deal of reflection, we actually enjoy being around each other again. You taught us skills that have helped us manage conflict.
Yeah, we had a great spiritual conversation with a couple that had vested interest in helping us find our peace.
As a startup entrepreneur, I have been able to leverage the Myers coaching. First of all, they are a sounding board for my personal anxieties as I develop and fine-tune my leadership. I would get so irritated. I now have a plan to manage my anger and a support system that holds me accountable. They are non-judgmental people with tremendous skill and talent, an asset for anyone trying to develop professionally.